I'd like you to imagine, okay? Imagine for a moment someone you would trust, okay? Someone that you would trust with your business, or someone perhaps that you know would pursue your best interest even if you weren't looking. Hey, you got that from now? Now, did you imagine a coworker, or perhaps a 16-year-old, or maybe, I doubt anybody probably here imagined that 16-year-old that made their pizza? Well, I do, because that's who I get to work with every day. Actually, I get to work with 200 people in my company, and many of them are like Andy and Mikey here, high school aged, and probably hourly workers their whole life, which is awesome because I get to trust them with my business. See, I trust them while I track their performance. That's the difference, because it's not just trust. We have to track each other as well, but in a way that doesn't take away from how we trust each other at the same time. Back when I was a little kid, my dad had this restaurant in Chicago, 25 seats, small little place. I learned a lot about business, actually, and being an entrepreneur. I got my business MBA, actually, at this restaurant. Growing up, worked there my whole life. And it's funny because by the time I graduated high school, I told my dad, Dad, I've had enough for the restaurant business. Told him I actually wanted to go out and build custom homes and be a carpenter. And the funny thing is I told him, Dad, I'm never going to get in the restaurant business again. I had enough. So much for saying never, right? So now I have 2 of these restaurants here. This for me started about 18 years ago. I had 3 kids of my own at the time, and I realized that there was a gap in the community. There was no place where you could actually take your family and your friends and go have a really good time, and the community can come together. So I did what I wanted to do. I decided to build one myself, and I actually built this from the ground up, a little advantage of being a carpenter, which is great results. I mean, it's really exciting. These restaurants are super busy. There's 1,000 guests that come through our doors on a typical Friday or Saturday night. 700 pizzas coming out of the ovens just on the dinner shift alone. And we'll have, with great results too, we'll have 40 people or more working on a dinner shift alone. So that's some pretty cool stuff. And the restaurant industry is very stressful, and there's a lot of burnout. Work is not enjoyable. Actually, drug use and theft, it runs pretty rapid in the restaurant industry. At Nick's, it's totally different than that. We've actually never had to prosecute for theft. Our peer pressure among our team actually causes a lot of, maybe the mistake employees we've had leave before we've even fired them. I'm working on their own initiative without managers hovering over them. At all levels of our company, team members constantly outperform our expectations. Pretty cool. I mean, $1,000 tips have shown up 4 different times. In a blue-collar community, the area, $35 check average, that's pretty amazing. I mean, it's supposed to be just pizza, right? It's much more than that. It's actually what happens as a result of us trusting each other. That's it, And I realized when I wanted to grow my business, I wanted to open more restaurants, and bring more to the communities across our country, I thought to myself, what's the amazing stuff that goes on inside those companies, those big companies like Google? And I realized we can have a world-class culture in small business too, simply by disciplining ourselves and our organizations to make culture top of mind in every decision we make, in every action we take. It's that simple, and I had to realize, though, that what is culture? Well, culture is the behaviors that happen in any given moment of our team, collectively of our team. So we could either let culture just happen, which happens mostly, or we could be explicit and create the culture we want to be a part of. That's what I decided to do. So my approach to doing this is the first step in building a trust in work is starting with purpose. It's about what purpose is. It's about why we do what we do, why our company exists. So if you notice, there's nothing about what we do in our purpose, nothing about pizza. Right? It starts right there. I think this is a big missed opportunity in a lot of organizations. You start with why we do what we do, and then we're specific in creating our purpose. And I've realized there's some great missions and visions out there, but purpose to me is different. Mission and vision is more future-oriented, something we're going to get to someday, we're striving to. Like the Army has a great, the Army has a mission to go take the hill. That's a mission. For us, purpose, being present tense, here and now, allows us all to really take ownership in it, and it's a collective I statement, right? It's not to be, it's an I statement. And so what I did, and also the important thing too, is it's not just me telling everybody what our purpose was, it was a collective thing with our team. I hired a consultant to help us do this, Rudy Mick, and Rudy took us off site, and we did this together as a team. And we did the same thing with our values. Again, we defined how we do what we do, a collective I statement. And the opportunity with these specific values, when they're action-oriented like this, and they're not numbered because they're all important, is to become a performance criteria for us. So now we could celebrate behaviors to these values, or we can course correct them, whatever we need to do. This is just as important system in our organization as the recipe of our pizza. So when I realized how great this work was, I was really moved by it, that I decided I didn't want our purpose and values to be a plaque on the wall that just collected dust. I wanted it alive and vibrant in the culture of our organization. So for us, we have this tool. Instead of just going, in most companies, if you have an issue, you go to the boss and he tells you the solution. At Nix, if we have an issue, we have a problem, we go to one of the places we have the purpose and values, and we use the purpose and values to get to the most effective solution. Awesome tool. And you could use issue, you could use marketing ideas, purpose, value, solution, hiring, whatever it might be. So at Nix, you come to Nix, you get hired, if you get through it, the hiring process, then everybody goes to orientation. Orientation, we learn about our why we do what we do, how we do what we do, this decision-making process, our communication process of safe space. From orientation, everybody goes to 101. And at 101, that's where you get to make pizza, sandwiches, salads. That's our what, right? Finally. And then after 101, now everybody goes to their 201. And 201 is the certification process you see right here on the wall. So what's different is it's not just that we have our purpose and values, it's what we do with our purpose and values, which is teaching everybody how to use it and thinking of our business as a school, not just a restaurant. So Benito there is holding up the 3 hats that signify rookie, pro, and expert. And this is actually represents how everybody gets a raise at Nix, reinforcing our 100% open books and transparent financials. Really important. Again, as any teacher would tell you, it's not just, trusting and hope. You really have to have a process in place that is accountable and supports accountability from a place of people, the team members' interest, growth, and development, not just our own. Really important process. Again, reinforcing the trust we have in each other. So also our purpose and values is an outward extension of our brand as well. So at Nix, we have $0 for advertising budget. We don't spend any money on advertising. What we do is we give back 5% of our net proceeds back to the communities our restaurant are in. Again, giving the community the opportunity to come in and enjoy our pizza and hopefully, keeping us in business. Pretty simple, you think, right? So our business success, it hasn't always been all that rosy and great. Actually, something happened that almost put me out of business, cost our business to go down. It was really kind of sad. What happened, like many businesses, we had a tough time during the downturn in the economy for sure, but we were actually getting through it. It wasn't easy. It was tight some months, and it was in the beginning of 2011 where we had this big road construction happen in front of our second restaurant there in Elgin, which was shortly after we opened it. And not only did they tear up that whole intersection from April all the way through till October, but they took our entrance that was right in front of our restaurant and moved it down the street 800 feet. Holy cow, you can imagine all the confusion, and our sales dropped 50% actually over those months. And I remember getting through that summer, and it was touch and go sometimes. And finally I remember there was one day in September. It was a Saturday morning in September where I opened up my computer. It was a rough week, missing some sales numbers. I opened up my computer like I do many mornings, and I looked at our cash flow projections so I could see how much cash had, out in the future. And I could actually see that we were going to run out of cash in about 4 weeks. I wasn't going to be able to pay our mortgage, and I could actually see that I wasn't going to be able to pay payroll in about 4 weeks. I was like, holy crap. I just realized that everything I built over the last 18 years, I could lose. I had this horrible feeling come over me, feeling of surrender. So I just did what I thought was the right thing to do. I decided to open up a Word doc and type a letter. And I wanted to type it out to all of our guests and our team. See, we have about 16,000 people in our frequent diner database. And I wanted them all to know, they're like family to us, what was happening. And I called this letter an uncertain future because I didn't know what was going to happen. And I went on to write that I thought it was really important that I let our community know. I can never understand how businesses go through a tough time. They're part of the community, and you have the community and the team members that have supported them for years. All of a sudden, they go to work one day and the doors are locked. How could you do that to people that you really care about? I couldn't do that. And I shared that in the letter. And I also wanted people to know that really what was happening in our restaurant was a result of my mistake, not theirs. That our team members have gone above and beyond anything I've asked them to do. The managers as well. They even did marketing things on their own initiative, on their own time. It was my mistake. I was the one who bought this piece of property, got this big mortgage, overbuilt this huge building now that was too big for the area with all this unemployment. I thought it was really important that our guests knew that, and I didn't care what was going to happen afterwards. It was a really tough thing for me to do, and by the time I got to the end of that letter, I have this little disease I think a lot of entrepreneurs do called optimism. So I get to the end of the letter, and I said, I think we have one more chance. If over the next 4 weeks, if we could see an increase in sales in either of our restaurants, we might actually be able to make it by. So if you could just tell your friends and your family and coworkers to come on in, we're not ready to say goodbye to the community yet. I'm not ready to say goodbye to the community. So give us one last chance. And then I just finished it with my contact information. Please come by the restaurant, call me, email me. I'd like to see you come by. And I got done with that letter, and I thought, I still wasn't sure if this is the right thing to do, to be so open and honest about stuff. So I brought it to my team in Elgin, and they read it. It kind of surprised me. I told them, I'm not sure if we should do this, put it out in the public. And they said, Nick, this is how we do things. This is using our values. Of course we should do this. So I was like, wow, I have their support 100%. So I still wasn't sure, though. So I go, on Monday morning, I share it with my PR consultant, an expert, and my bank president that I've been communicating with along the way. And I asked them what I should do. And they said, Nick, they had a different perspective. They said, no way, you shouldn't do this. Really, you're being way too honest and way too transparent. You're going to have a whole bunch of crises and problems on your hands. You're going to have, team members and vendors, a lot of problems. You're going to create a lot of slack. We highly recommend you don't do this. So what do you think I did? I went ahead and did it anyhow. Yeah, I went back to the restaurant, and, I had the team support. So I opened up my computer that afternoon, and it wasn't easy, honestly, because it's hard. You don't know if you're going to lose everything. But I hit that send button, and I honestly felt a little relief, a little tension relief. Like, you know what? I did everything I could do. The rest is up to the universe, whatever's going to happen. So I'm walking through the restaurant, and literally it was not even 5 minutes. I'm walking by the door, and this guy comes in. He says, Nick, I'm here. I got your email. I'm here to support you. I'm like, wow, was this guy in the parking lot or something? I'm thinking, And I thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I walk in the heart of house, or we call our kitchen the heart of house, and the phones are ringing off the hook, and our team's fired up. They're saying, yeah, there's people calling. They got the email, and they're coming in. And we actually had team members that used to work for us calling in and saying, Nick, we got the email. We're going to help you out. It was really cool, the stuff that was happening. people were coming in the doors like crazy. And actually, I didn't post it on social media, but it went viral, like Emerson said. It went viral on Facebook like crazy, hundreds of shares. And we actually had, within 20 minutes, we had a Save Nick's page, a Pizza Palooza event. Really cool. And actually one of the most moving things with all that stuff happening and all the excitement in the restaurants, the thing that really made the biggest impact to me was the stories our guests were sharing with our team members. That was outstanding. I had bartenders and servers and carry-out hosts coming up to me sometimes in tears, sharing these stories about how the families were, these families and our team had connected with them and created these relationships. It was amazing. I actually remember that first Saturday night. Maura comes up to me in tears. I'm like, Maura, what happened? Did you get hurt? She goes, no, Nick. She goes, I was just talking to this table upstairs. This little 10-year-old boy is here with his dad. And what he shared, this story he shared about how important Nick's is to him and his dad on these Saturday nights, you got to go up there and talk to him. And those kinds of stories kept happening. And I realized that it really was a result of what we've created in our organization. By trusting our team, they had outperformed my expectations in ways I wasn't even aware of. That's the opportunity. I could have, our community was understanding that and connecting it, and they were here to support us through our time in need now, through this tough time. I could have got up here, and I could have told all of you about the great awards we've had and all these great things that we've gotten, a lot of that stuff. But I wanted you to know that it's not the power of trust in an organization, the things we do, not only creates great success, but it'll also help you through a tough time, even if you screw up big time like I did, really. And it's this amazing stuff with our team that is actually going to give us the opportunity to make changes in our organizations. I believe that it's actually the small business in America that are going to be leading the change in leadership behavior to trust and track. I really do. Well, our work life and our regular life doesn't have to be these two separate things that we dread every day. We can have great experiences in our organizations. It could be a fun part of our life. We just have to be explicit about the culture we want to be a part of. Be on purpose. Be specific. Create a purpose. Use our values as verbs, not nouns. Think of our business as a school, a learning organization, really. And then recognize and celebrate the behaviors we want to see more of our team. Get out of the way and watch them outperform our greatest expectations. And one more thing. I'd like you all to come on by Nick's for some pizza, bring some great pizza, and meet some really great people. Thank you.